The FAFSA form can be found at studentaid.gov. If you're a first-time student going to college, you will start here and make your account. When you get to this point, you will select I am the student, fill in your information. Keep in mind that if you will be using a parent's tax information for your FAFSA, they will also have to create their own separate account. It will ask for their information at one point later in the process. Hit accept. We will be starting with the 2021-2022 FAFSA. You will then have to create a safe key for safekeeping, so that way you can access your information later on and verify your account as well. You will then come into this section where there are frequently asked questions that people might ask when filling out the FAFSA. You can go through and read anything that you might have questions on. That way you're prepared for when you actually begin the application process. Now we will begin answering the actual FAFSA form questions. Keep in mind that we will be using a sample student's information, so when you're filling it out for yourself, make sure you read the questions thoroughly and answer accordingly to your own situation. You'll provide your email, re-enter email, and provide your telephone number, your address, city, state, and zip code. Next, it will ask you a residency question. Depending on your situation, your answers might look different. So if you're a first-time freshman, your completion status will be high school diploma when you begin in the fall of 2021. You'll be working on your first bachelor's degree, and you will select no on this question. And you have never attended college since you are just graduating high school. If you would like to be considered for work study, you can select yes, no, or if you're not sure, you can select don't know. You will then select your driver's information if you have it. If not, that's fine. High school completed by parents. If you are unsure, there is an option to just put other or unknown. We will now move on to the school selection. You will enter the name of your high school. Once you fill it in, you will click confirm, and you will have a list of the high schools in your area, and you can just scroll down and find the one that you are a student at. Click next. Next, you will do the school selection. If you know the school's code, then you can go ahead and click yes and type in the school code. If you don't know it, then you can go back and find your school by city, state, or even the name of the school. You can add up to as many as 10 colleges that you would like your FAFSA information to be sent to. UTPB's code is 009930. You'll click on the school, hit next. Then it will ask you for your housing plans. If you plan on living on campus, so dorms or apartments, with a parent, or not with a parent, but still off campus. Next. Your marital status. Again, make sure to read the questions thoroughly and answer accordingly to your situation. Make sure you read through each of these questions as well. Click on the ones that apply to you, and if none of the above, and hit next. Based on your answers to the dependency status questions, you're considered a dependent student. This means you will provide parental information. So if you have your parents' information, click I will provide information about my parents. If you don't have your information for any reason, you can click I am unable to provide information. Then we'll click next. At this point, we are almost halfway through. We are now in the parent information questions. As of today, what is the marital status of your parents? Click what applies to you. It will ask for your parents' marriage date, but you don't need to know the exact date. A month and year is fine. You will then enter your parents' information. Parent information for the next one. Next, in the parent demographics, it will ask some residency questions. Have your parents lived in their current state for at least 5 years? Hit yes or no, then next. Now it will ask information about your household size. It will include your parents, yourself, and in this next line, any other children that your parents may have that they provide support to, or if they're dependents on your parents. If you don't have any, you can just leave that as 0. In this next line, other people that live with your parents that are not children, but your parents do provide support for them. The total number of people in your household will populate in this area. In this last part, you will put how many people will be in college for this next 2021-2022 academic school year. If it's just you, then just leave it at 1 and hit next. Next, it will ask for your parents' tax information. If they've already completed, what type of tax return did they file, and what type of status that they filed. If they did file a 2019 tax return, they can link directly to the IRS website and pull the information directly from them for the next questions. If this doesn't work, then you will need to have a copy of your tax return and fill in the information based off what they ask. If you choose to use the IRS link from the website, it'll ask which parent is going to be asking for that information, and this is where it will ask the parent's username and password. If you don't link your account, this is where you will have to manually input all this information, and it will tell you exactly where you find that information on your tax return. You will then input how much each parent made, and again, it'll tell you exactly where you can find this number on your tax return. Again, it'll tell you where you can find this information. This is another section that you will have to read thoroughly and make sure that any of these don't apply, and if they do apply, make sure you write in the correct information. More questions about similar information, click next. More questions. If you ever find any questions that you don't understand, you don't know what they mean, you can always call your financial aid office and ask them what those questions mean and where you can find that information. If it doesn't apply, then you can just mark 0 for all of these. This is where it's going to ask your student financial information. So now we're done with the parent section. It'll ask about the student. So if as a student you had a job while in high school, it'll ask if you filed taxes for the year of 2019. When or what type of return did you file, and your status. It'll also give you the option to link that data from the IRS. If you want to, you can try that, or you can just hit next and manually input all that information. You can either link or skip, and you will go through and answer the same questions that you answered for your parents, but now if they applied to you. Again, make sure you read through these questions thoroughly and make sure you answer the ones that apply to you, leave zeros for the ones that don't. Same thing with this section. Same thing with this page. As a student, it will ask you your current balance in your current account. Your net worth of investments or real estate. As a student, these might all be 0, and it doesn't include your family property or anything that they own as an asset. So it's only you as a student individually. Are you a preparer? Chances are no. Then when we get to this final sign and submit portion, it'll give you a run through of everything you just filled out. So make sure you read through it and make sure all the information is accurate. If there's anything that isn't, you can always go back and fix anything that doesn't look right. Then we'll go to the very bottom, hit next. Here we will sign at submit. You will need the student signature and the parent signature. Whoever provided their information to help you fill out the form is who will sign. Agree. Next. Sign this FAFSA. Signature status signed electronically, and now the parent will sign as well. Agree. Next. And this is where the parent provided their FAFSA information that they were supposed to create initially. Since this is a demo, I will not be able to go on to the next portion without the parent's signature, but this is the last step needed to finally submit your FAFSA form. The last part is the confirmation, and from there you are all done with your FAFSA. If you have any questions, please feel free to call our financial aid office or admissions office for any questions related to your application or financial aid.